So you have to understand that this document took up 2 filing cabinet drawers. Thank you. This isn't my foray. You see, I usually hide in the background. But so we have been, Issa and I have been responsible for all these materials that have found a life in publishing. Some things haven't found a life in publishing, and the exegesis was really intimidating to us. Every once in a while we try to dig into it on our own and start reading it, and it's very information dense. And I have to say that when I read it, I would sit there originally with a dictionary and where's my library of philosophy? And a library of philosophy, or dictionary of philosophy. I'm not a philosophy major, which I'm sort of jealous of all you that are, because you get a deeper meaning than I think I'll ever be able to. But really tried to understand this. And I loved what you said. You said it's the blind man's elephant, right? It's like, or maybe you said Philip K. Dick's the blind man's elephant. But this thing was intimidating and overwhelming, and we started becoming comfortable that there was enough known about our father that we knew that there was this experience in '74. We're pretty challenged to balance that from a daughter's perspective and to balance it as a responsibility to his legacy, the scholars, and the fans' perspective, and we knew we would publish it. And so about 7 years ago, we got mentally ready. Probably one of the key things was Jonathan getting our father inducted into the Library of America. And if you've been told your father's was crazy your entire life, it's pretty hard to deal with sometimes. And I knew him. He wasn't crazy. In fact, when we were in L.A. doing a panel in L.A., we were in the elevator, and these guys go, "Oh, yeah, we're going to see the Philip K. Dick panel. He was crazy. He was as crazy as Bedbug." And I'm like, "Really?" And so then, of course, I outed myself right then and there. And I said, "Pamela, what do you think? You've been in my father's mind for a long time. The last 3 years, was he crazy?" She goes, "No, I don't think he was crazy." What'd you say, manic depressive? Something like that, but not schizophrenic, whatever. But so we've tried to balance this. We feel very strongly that our responsibility is to not edit who Philip K. Dick was, that he was who he was, good, bad, and indifferent. Some things make us squeamish and are incredibly uncomfortable. I mean, no young woman, and I was 22 when my father died, wants to read about a girl that he has a crush on. You just don't. But this journey was pretty amazing because we were told, no, nobody will ever publish this, nobody will ever publish this. But we did this underground thing with Pamela, and we were funding her on this very limited basis and meeting with her and talking about it, and Jonathan's mentoring us. And Pamela and Jonathan, we just had a moment of serendipity, I would say, and they rose to the occasion. They put together an outline, sort of I would say a document that described what this was so that a non-Philip K. Dick commercial publisher would understand what it was. And oh my God, they gave us an advance. So we actually used that advance to fund the team that worked on this. In fact, I went back and I said, "Could you give us a little more advance? Because there's a lot of people on the team, and we wanted to do right by those people as best we could." And they did. I'd never been in this experience. It was pretty fun. So, so that's how we got here. And I have to say that Pamela was very conscientious for us as the children of Philip K. Dick. We were worried there were things that would... The only rule that we have is if there's someone living, we won't publish something that would hurt them. It's not necessary. And we'll wait until, 20 years or whatever, 50 years from now, and when she found one very minor component, one name, and she just changed the name. We talked about it and we just changed the name. So I have to say that our fears, we've grown. It's been almost 30 years in February since our father passed away. And our comfort level and our maturity and this big responsibility that we take really seriously, sometimes it's very overwhelming, has allowed us to be here with you today with this book. So we're very excited about that. And it's as much as we could get through a commercial publisher. And the rest will be out someday, completely accessible. I think the technology's there. We have to get there. Can I get just a one?
Great.
Probably just, Laura said it all. But just really appreciate being here. This is like coming back home, sort of full circle. We met with Pamela for the first time here. And of course, this was where her father grew up and did a lot of his early stories. So it's pretty special to be here. So thanks for all the support. Thanks for everybody, friends, family, and fans.
So, yes. We'll save, Erik will save you for a little bit further along. Erik comes in an enormously crucial intervention in this publishing process. But Pamela, do you want to talk a bit about your experience of having this this monster delivered to your doorstep and what you did?
Yeah, so I had no idea what to expect, really. Well, some idea, because I had read about the exegesis first in Valis, where it was a main character of that autobiographical fiction, and then in the various reports on it that other readers had made, and then I had relied, as Jonathan said, very heavily on this short volume of excerpts by Lauren Sutton when I was writing my thesis. So I knew that it was immense and impossible, but I didn't actually know what it would be like to wade into it. So Laura brought me 3 boxes of file folders stuffed with handwritten pages. There are 91 file folders, and they are numbered 1 to 92, because one of them was not there anymore. But
it was mislabeled. It really shouldn't have been there. It's not a conspiracy. It was something from a different time period that was erroneously included.
They were numbered, but they were not in chronological order. So I had no idea when I dipped into folder number 1 what it was, when he had written it, how representative it was, what I would find there. And my first read through I was just completely without any sense of up or down, because I didn't have a sense of what came first. I was encountering these ideas over and over again, it was like constantly changing examination of the same set of ideas, but I didn't know whether it went anywhere. I didn't know whether to look for it to go anywhere, or whether I had to just give up all sense of control and let myself go into this brain, because that's what you are doing when you're reading the exegesis itself. You're just really inside this thinking brain that is a very manic thinking brain and never comes to any stop. So I spent a lot of time just kind of getting oriented, and my second time through I was able to start putting things in chronological order, and then I started being able to see that actually there was some order. There was even a story that I began to see of where he would, starting in 1974, there was a period of writing letters, and the early exegesis is all letters, pretty much all letters. He was writing about the experience to anyone who would listen, and the experience itself was actually taking place as he wrote. So for the first about year, you've got these kind of action-packed letters. It's like a detective story that's going forward in front of you, and it's kind of exciting because he's starting to excavate the meaning of these events, and he's getting all of this information as he does it. Dreams are flooding in, voices speaking to him, visions, they're still happening. And then after that period, he starts really digging in with the research, and the sort of visions kind of slow down, and he starts taking notes towards Valis, and so on. So that there is actually a shape of this journey that goes from 1974 to 1982 when he died, which began to come forward as I found my footing. So that was the beginning. And the other part of the beginning was that I immediately saw that I couldn't do this by myself, and that I didn't want to be alone inside the exegesis. And so I started recruiting co-readers, other readers. Erik was one of them, who I asked to also take some folders and help me both select from them and transcribe the selections. And so we got a whole team together of people doing that, so which I think worked out really, really well. I wouldn't have been even able to transcribe this amount of material in the time we had if not for all that help.
One of the